When I was doing a live stream yesterday, one of the people on the stream, one of the guys said an interesting thing. I was teaching and talking about, taking action, facing fear, improving your mental toughness, being more courageous. And one of you said, well, the reason why a lot of people don't do it, Johnny, is because they're scared of the pain. And he's right. So I thought I would speak on that today and really try and help you to do how I help myself to change your perspective on pain. And pain being most of it is emotional pain, if not all of it. So I want to give some different examples here. And I'm going to use the word positive and negative to explain pain in a positive way and a negative way. But it doesn't necessarily mean that when I'm using the word positive and negative, that is the absolute truth, but it's just a way of explaining it so people get it, and then they can overcome this fear of not wanting to face pain. So I'll start off by using some examples in my real life of how I overcame this problem. And obviously this is a continuous process. It's not like you overcome pain or you gain confidence and then you don't have to do it no more. You've got to keep doing it if you want to keep growing as a person. It's kind of a seasonal thing. So many years ago, I was in an immense amount of pain because I was doing jobs that I didn't enjoy. The pay wasn't great. It wasn't so much the pay because I was always a very grateful person, but it was more the case where I didn't like how I was being treated at the jobs. I couldn't fully be myself. It felt like I couldn't be fully honest because I'd lose the job. It wasn't fulfilling. It was wearing me down. It was making me feel terrible about myself. But at that time, I didn't have the guts to leave the job and go and try and start my own business or apply for another company, because I was the same as what the gentleman on my live stream described. Maybe he's also talking about himself a bit, right? Which I appreciate, which is brave in others. I was afraid of the pain. So at that time, I wouldn't have said that, but that is the truth unconsciously. I would have probably, in my own mind, where I was back then, my level of consciousness or understanding would have been, well, I'm afraid because I'm afraid if I fail, like I don't know how to do it. Like it just seems such a big commitment. It's so uncertain. It's so scary where the job I'm doing, although I'm not happy, it's giving me security. At least I know I'm getting a wage every week. And, it's kind of, I feel, I'm not saying this is true, but I feel like I'm making my parents proud. So, there's all those sorts of fears as well, disappointing your parents and caring about other people judging you. So I was in a place of negative pain, because the pain that I was going through every morning, getting up, dreading the job, dreading work, having awful anxiety throughout the time at work because of the nerves and not wanting to be there, that pain was negative because the pain wasn't giving me any positive growth. So I was going through all that pain, but I wasn't getting fulfillment out of it. I wasn't getting joy, happiness, self-esteem, all the things that we want to feel as human beings, all the, feeling that you're, just feeling that you're succeeding. So that was an example of what I would call negative pain. Now, moving on, as I got further ahead in my life, I started to suffer mental health problems, even worse. Eventually, I was getting treated so bad at that particular job that I stood up to the boss who was bullying people and me, and I told him to, I quit. They basically sat me in and I walked out. So when I walked out, I was afraid because it was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? I was like, immediately, the first thing you think of is, what am I going to do for money? Like, what am I going to do? Like, there's an awful panic. It's like a fear of death that gets triggered. I went through that and like, oh no, I'm going to disappoint my parents. And, because it does feel good when you're working, even when there's obviously a bit of a contradiction, but I felt good about the fact that at least I had a full-time job, but I wasn't happy in there. So I guess moving on a little bit longer, the fear of being a failure and just being sick of being tired and feeling that way, I was so driven to make something of my life. So now I've gone from feeling stuck in a negative place in life, a fear of facing the pain, to now going, I have to do it. Something in me is, and if you know my story, you know that I got very inspired by a man called Les Brown. Reading his books, listening to his videos really inspired me. So now I have taken a risk, and I have faced the pain in my life. And the pain is a combination of many things. It's like a cocktail of different pains. So a lot of the pain is my trauma in my past, which we all have. We all go through things. The trauma has created demons that I was dealing with on a daily basis. My insecurities, my demons about myself, my limitations, my limiting beliefs, my negative perceptions, etc. So then you start realizing that, so I'm afraid of failing. Yeah, I'm afraid of the surface failing, like people judging me. But what I'm really deeply afraid of is taking on my demons, because you don't really have to take your demons on when you're living a life that's not purposeful and you're kind of in a dead-end job. You're going to be bullied by demons, but they don't really get rattled because you're not challenging the opposition, which is your own demons, your internal demons, and I suppose they do project. So when you take them on and you say, right, I've quit a job that's dead end that I don't want to do anymore, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to become an entrepreneur, start my own business, and see if I can make a living, change people's lives, and learn this and just put it all on the line. So once I started doing that, although it was scary and painful, it was the best thing I've ever done in my life. The pain that I went through was positive pain, because when I started to learn how to become my own boss and get paid doing a job that I love, and get paid 10, 20 times more than I was getting paid the jobs that I didn't enjoy, now I'm getting rewarded for facing my pain. Does that make sense? And the pain, although it's painful and at times it's uncomfortable and it's terrifying, it's worth it because of the growth, because of the war. So it's a bit like saying, how can I make this simpler? Because I don't want to lose people. Some of you will get this. I know you're smart. Some people, it might go over their head. So let's say, for example, let's say, for example, on a surface level, the pain of going for a run for 45 minutes, when you're tired and you're knackered, if you're not used to doing it, or if you do boxing for the first time, it's painful. You get tired, your heart's beating, your adrenaline, the fatigue kicks in. But if you can get through the run and just do whatever you can and push it out, when you finish the run, you feel amazing. It's just a euphoric feeling. You get a buzz, you get a high. And that's no different. It's no different to the buzz and the high and the growth that you get when you take on your demons and you go into the pain. And you're going into the pain on two levels, internally and externally. Because on an external level, you're going out and you're learning how to be a businessman or do a new job. You're talking to people. You've got to go through rejection, selling. You're helping people. You've got to manage those highs and lows. So you're doing that on an external level, but you're also at the same time doing it internally, because you've got to you've got to face your emotions and your demons and your thoughts and your past, and you've got to challenge it and disprove it. So it's really about, like I said in the other videos, you really have to have a clear goal in life. You have to have a goal that inspires you so much, or a purpose or a vision. Same kind of thing, a goal, a dream, a vision. Once you become aligned to that, there is such a powerful relationship and your why and your meaning that gets you through the pain. You've now got an extra strength that you didn't have before, or you wasn't aware of. So when I was younger, I wasn't aware of all this. I was human like everybody else. I followed society, most of the things that are limited or negative or not honest or not really truthful. And I didn't want to face pain. I was ashamed of pain. I wanted to be comfortable all the time. So it's really about getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, and that's how you grow. So I guess to answer the question, because I've gone on I had to go into this, you've got to change your relationship with pain, and you do it through practice. You see, there's only so much I can do for people on a video speaking. I can tell you my story in depth, blood, sweat and tears. I pour my heart out, and I love doing it, especially to change people's lives. That is my purpose. But you've got to, like, it's the same when I listen to Les Brown. Les Brown couldn't get up and build a business for me. He couldn't do it. He couldn't wipe my backside for me. He couldn't physically sell and make money. He couldn't teach people for me, but he gave me the inspiration, the knowledge, the wisdom, his story. And I felt that, and that it moved me. So that's what I aim to do in all these videos, whoever I'm speaking to, is to move you in a way where I was moved. So you go out, and obviously you're not going to live my life. Your purpose is going to be different to mine. And that's what makes everybody unique, where it might be similar. But ultimately, you know, we're all heading towards the same kind of destination. We all want the same thing. So, and the more you do it, the better you get. It's like anything in life. It's like when you first go in and you first bench press. Most people probably can't bench press. They can't bench press 60 kilos or 80 or 100 kilos when you're a beginner. Okay, some people are naturally strong. Most people can't. You've got to start on with 10 kilograms. And then that's difficult. And then a couple of months later, your body becomes accustomed. It grows, it gets stronger. Then you can do 15 kilos, and then 20, and then 30, 40, 100, and so forth. So in the same way that you build up tolerance to lifting heavier weights, is the same way that you build up the spiritual stamina and the confidence and the courage and here, the mental toughness. So it's through repetition, and it's not giving up when you fail, and it's also not being complacent when you succeed. So I think a lot of people, they are not educated on the value and the benefits of going into their pain, their trauma, their anxieties. And I'm not saying do it all in one day, because no one's expected to do that. But to start today and do a little bit each day until you get there and chip away. And that's how I done it. So back to more of a simple language. If you don't face your social anxiety, it isn't going to get any better. You're going to be in pain anyway. So we're all going to be in pain regardless. It's a catch-22. But you can be in a negative pain, where you're in pain because we're human, we have feelings, we have traumas, anxieties, but then you're not living the life that you want. So you've got pain, but you have no meaning. But when you've got the positive pain, yes, I still experience pain like everyone else, but I have a lot of meaning in my life, a lot of joy, a lot of happiness. I do what I love. I get paid to do what I love. I love changing people's lives. So the choice is yours. The choice is yours, and I've been on both sides of the spectrum. At the start of my life, for the first 15 years, I lived a life of no purpose, no fulfillment, very little fulfillment, and I was in pain, negative pain, pretty much all the time. The second part of my life now is there's so much fulfillment and joy and success, externally and internally. But of course, it comes at a price. So really, you know, I think it's better that people do the latter, that they go out and live their dreams and face their pain. Because if you don't face your pain, you're in pain anyway. You're in pain because you avoided it, and there's the consequences that come with that. You feel bad, you feel like a coward, you know you've got these issues, you know these demons are there, you're not looking at them. Where when you face them, it is painful and tough, but eventually you conquer them. And that's really the story of all the great stories, isn't it? Rocky, The Lion King, Aladdin, Star Wars. It's the underdog story. So anybody out there, when you get these people, they're not honest. I'm sorry, right? They're not honest when they start saying things like you can become successful pain-free. You can't. You can't succeed in any area of life, not unless you're not human, that is. Because we're human. We've got emotions, we've got feelings, we have biology, we have spiritual nature, we have a soul. So, you know, we have a psychology, we have a mind. So everything has a certain amount of stress on the body. So it's really the education that people need, and then they need the application, because the education's important, but education without application equals nothing, no growth. So again, what I'm saying in all my videos is there's people out there that can articulate this even better than I can. They've read, they've watched so many teachers, but they're not taking any action or enough. They're not facing the pain on a practical level. Therefore, they're not developing mentally, emotionally. So it's worth it, but I suppose it's not enough for me to tell you that. You've got to experience this for yourself. And when I used to listen to Les Brown, I still listen to Les, I love Les, but when I first heard him, he was saying all these things that I'm saying now. And it became true to me when I went out and I implemented Les' teachings, and I developed my own as well, which everybody should. And then it was like, wow, everything this guy said was true. Pretty much it was on the money. He's brilliant. So, you know, it's you're not going to do it in the books, because reading books is too easy. You can get some guidance, you can get some knowledge, but you've got to act on the knowledge. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. So I know I went really deep there. I know a lot of people appreciate it. I'm a huge believer in there is a time to go deep, there's a time to keep things on the surface. And I've really enjoyed doing this video, actually. It just flowed really well. So, you know, but it does take time. They're not overnight things, which is why I'm going to be doing a lot of videos on this. There's a lot of stuff coming more on this channel, because it is extremely challenging for everyone, myself included, but you can do it. You can really grow. You can. It's hard. I'm a bit reluctant to say that you can learn to love the pain. I don't know if that is completely accurate, but you can certainly become more tougher and tolerant at dealing with the pain when you know that there's a great reward. So I'll leave you with a last analogy, truth thing in my life. Helping other people for me is such a rewarding, joyous thing, but it's quite painful many times, you know, to have to open up, to give out, you know, the love, the kindness, the enthusiasm, to help people, to hear them out, to be around them. So, but it's a pain that comes with a great purpose, and it's worth it. It's better to go through some pain and you know, put your own selfishness aside and sacrifice to bless other people, and that blesses you as well, than it is to protect yourself and be greedy and opt out. So I hope people have got a positive perspective on pain, and they've also got the education on the negative. So if you avoid pain because you're scared of it, you won't grow. That'll be negative. If you face pain, you will get great success in your life, both internally and externally. All right, good night.